Hello everybody, my name is Steve and this is my third video on my YouTube channel on global dating, and today I'm going to cover some topics that I lightly touched upon in my other two videos, but today I'm going to focus specifically on the dating scene in the US versus abroad, as far as just the ease of getting dates and the quality and what the difference in the type of girls you can get in terms of looks and quality abroad versus in the US. And so I think that so that's what I'm going to cover. So I think the first thing that I want to bring up is approaching women. And in the U.S., women don't like to be approached, whereas abroad, women are very cool with it, and they don't get upset or they get mad at the attempt. But in America, you know, if you approach a girl, a lot of times if she doesn't think you're good looking or she's not attracted to you, a lot of times she'll be very rude to you. A lot of it's nonverbal, it's body language. You can read, you know, the nonverbal cues like, leave me alone, I'm trying to read a book here at Starbucks, why are you bothering me? Or stop hitting on me. They think you're hitting on them, as if that's just such a horrible thing. So you never know what you're going to get. It's a very hard thing to do in America, to approach women if you don't know how they're going to react. So when you go abroad, they always react kindly and nicely. But when American women can be very upset, they can be very rude. So a lot of guys just don't do it anymore. I don't really approach women anymore unless I'm real sure she wants me to, and that rarely happens. You know, where a woman really shows that she wants me to. But I just, it's a negative feeling. I don't want to risk facing that negative feeling when some girl thinks I'm molesting her or bothering her. I don't want to molest or bother some girl. If she thinks I'm like some negative thing, approaching or hitting on her, whatever she thinks, I don't want her to think badly. Like, I don't want to bother anybody. So I just got to a point where, because of the negative reactions from women, I just don't do it anymore, you know, because it's just bad, you know, the women react badly. So, and then another thing in regards to approaching is, you know, if a guy has more signals to do so, it's easier. But American women are the second least flirtatious in the world. That's according to a study. You can Google it. American women and flirtation. If you Google that, the study will probably pull up. There's a YouTube video on it too. I can forward you any of those if anybody's interested. So in America, women don't help you meet them. They do not help you meet them. They don't meet you halfway. If they do look at you, it's real quick and brief, and it's hard to catch, you know. If you go overseas, compared to when you go overseas, like in the Philippines, women will stare and giggle and blush. I mean, you know when they like you. There's no question about it. I mean, they'll literally stare and giggle because they like you. You know, that's how they show it in the Philippines, you know. So it's kind of a more feminine thing, I think. They're more feminine, and that's probably why it's a little different there. But in Latin America, they also will make it known. They'll hard stare you. You'll see guys, trip reports, guys who date abroad talk about how women will just stare them down. I mean, they will let you know. And in some countries, for example, like in Costa Rica, if anybody knows about that culture, or just, you know, you can ask anybody who lives there, expat that lives there. But the fact is, in Costa Rica, women will initiate approach to you. They'll approach you and initiate flirtation. I mean, that's a huge help. So if you're somebody like me who, you know, doesn't approach women because he's not sure if she's going to be a bitch, put up her bitch shield or whatever she's going to do, and so, you know, if you're just shy or whatever, you don't have that problem when you go to other countries like the Philippines or Costa Rica. You know, in Costa Rica, it's common for women to ask you to dance. Think of that. How many American women, guys, have come up to you and asked you to dance? What, 1 out of 20 of you guys have had that happen? I've never had that happen. But they do that fairly commonly in Costa Rica. They'll let you know, hey, I'm attracted to you, I like you. They'll look at you, stare at you, they'll come up to you. So, and this is what I've read. I haven't been there yet, and I'm planning on going this week, actually, oddly enough. But I've read many different, I know it's true because I've seen it written over and over again. So, and I've been in the Philippines 8 times, and I know it's definitely true in the Philippines. Women will not approach you in the Philippines, but they will stare at you, and they'll laugh or giggle. Like, this is how they show that they like you. It's just a very cute thing. So the other thing, as far as the differences, is also girls abroad, they don't care if you're a low confident guy. Confidence is something that's just doesn't cross their mind. Like American girls, they're so sensitive to it. They want a guy who has confidence. And, you know, it's really harsh about American culture. It's like there's so much focus and emphasis on being confident. Well, you know, what if you're not a confident guy? Do you just deserve to be put at the bottom of the pile or something? I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. You're not a mean person. You're not confident. You're not hurting anybody. You're not a mean person. You're just not confident, and that should be okay. And that's what I love about other cultures compared to American culture, is that there isn't this false bravado that you have to be, you know, cool, confident, and be some Mr. Suave or whatever. They really accept weaknesses. That's the beauty of it. Foreign women accept weaknesses. So you can be nervous and trip over yourself when you try to talk to them or approach them. It's totally cool. If anything, they like it. They think it's cute. You know, American women are tougher than that. They get turned off if you're not confident. You see in American women dating profiles too. Confident comes up over and over again. Oh, you must be confident. So many guys lack confidence. They'll say in their profile, they complain about it. You know, screw that. I mean, who wants to? That's just so stupid. It doesn't exist in other countries. And actually, in Taiwanese and Chinese culture, the word self-esteem isn't even in the dictionary. I mean, it's not used. It's not part of their culture because it's not needed. Self-esteem, confidence, but they don't focus on that stuff in other cultures. They just don't. Americans and Westerners especially Americans, are fixated on stupid stuff like that. And it's what's caused the narcissism epidemic. They said that the current narcissism epidemic that we're going through in America, Jean Twenge, social psychologist, San Diego State University, she's real famous, but she talks about this focus on self-esteem, teaching self-esteem to our kids in school, raising their self-esteem, giving trophies just for attending, not for winning. Stuff like that, trying to raise self-esteem, has produced nothing but narcissists. It's destroyed the generation of kids because this focus on self-esteem and confidence is a bunch of garbage. They should just be done with it. And so American women are trained to care about that stuff, whereas foreign women, they just don't care. It's great. I mean, it's a breath of fresh air that you don't have to worry about that. In American women, you just got to have a perfect approach. I mean, you got to be bold. I mean, if you're one of these guys, if you're a guy that's very bold and you don't care about being rejected, you don't care I guess I should say you don't care about being rudely rejected. Like, I don't care about being rejected as long as it's done politely, in a nice, respectful way. But I do care if a girl acts like I'm bothering her and I'm just being a jerk and by hitting on her, all this negative way of looking at it. I do care about that. And that's the way a lot of American women see it. So really, you just got to have, like, with American women too, you got to have like a perfect approach. It's sometimes what they call game. You know, you got to have a certain smooth talking way of doing it. You know, otherwise you're not going to get a good response. And foreign women, they're not like that. Foreign women really accept you for who you are. If they think you're a nice guy, I mean, looks, to their credit, looks isn't really that important to them. You know, being overweight or being old, age is nothing. So they just only care if you're a nice guy, and if you are, that's all they care about, you know. So it's much easier. When I go abroad, I approach women sometimes because I'm not fearful to do it, because I know they don't bite, you know. They're not going to be a bitch, and so I gain more confidence overseas in my interactions with women because they're nicer and kinder and just easier to deal with. Now, with the exception of church, I would say that going to church and meeting girls, or going to or if you meet small town country women, you know, they're not like that. They're kind of like foreign women are. They're very nice, kind, respectful. And actually, I'm more likely and easier approach a small town country girl or a church girl than I would just a regular girl at a bar or club in America, just for that reason. So, and then the other thing is, I don't know if I mentioned it, body language. That scientists say that 90% of communication is nonverbal. So really, you know, foreign women just put out a vibe without saying it that they're cool with you approaching them, and they like it. You know, American women their nonverbal language, their body's language shows them as kind of closed, and they don't like meeting strangers. They don't like strange men coming up to them to try to talk to them. But you can do that overseas. At happyerabroad.com, Winston's got videos of himself approaching girls in all these different countries, Russia, China, and where he's just flat out, you can see, just comes up to women that don't know him, and before he's done, and he's not a smooth talker, Winston's, you know, he's not, he's an average guy, but the girls are really respond to him, and he's like giving a little kiss at the end and being just a little friendly affections. I mean, you can never do that with an American girl. You can't just meet an American girl as a stranger and within 5 or 10 minutes be kind of your arm around her and give a friendly kiss on the cheek, whatever, just that kind of stuff. That I've never seen that. They're not open to that degree of friendliness with a new person. It's just difference in culture, I guess. And then the other big difference is that foreign women will initiate flirtation. Okay, so if you're a shy guy and you don't approach women, you're not comfortable with it. It doesn't matter when you go overseas, because in general they will initiate flirtation. And I guess I did cover that earlier, and talked about that earlier in this video. How I think I mentioned how they do that in Costa Rica and some countries. Women will just approach you, ask you to dance, and they initiate stuff, So, and then the other way to meet women in the U.S., if you don't approach women in public, or just going to the grocery store, Starbucks, whatever, which I don't blame you if you don't, because I don't either, because they put up their bitch shield so often and be rude and stuff. Just by their body language, they want you to leave them alone. A lot of girls react that way. Not all of them, but a lot of them do. So I don't even bother with it anymore. But yeah, the other way to meet women is through internet dating. And internet dating in America is very hard because, like on most websites, you're dealing with gender imbalances. 60%, they consist of 60% men and 40% women. And even of the 40% of the membership that's women, a lot of them just do it to get their egos massaged. They just do it for attention, feel good about themselves. They get all these messages, because women will get 15, 20 messages a day. If they're decent looking, they're not overweight, they will get overflooded. I know a lot of girls who quit American dating sites because they couldn't handle the volume of messages, literally. So ask any girl how many messages she gets. She's not overweight, she's not fat, she's normal, thin, height, weight proportionate, and average, at least average looks. Ask those girls, American girls, how many messages they get. They get flooded. So it doesn't really work. Like I've sent 100 messages, I don't know, maybe 80 to girls over a 3 or 4 month period that I might have been interested in. I didn't get any responses back, 0 response rate. And I had girls, a few American girls or friends of mine look at my profile and say, hey, your profile's great. I had coworkers look at my profile. Hey, Steve, you got a great profile. So my profile's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that difficult in the States. I think it's hard to get dates on internet dating. The only guys that I know that have had success with online dating that said that they had success, when I look at the women that they date, that they're willing to meet and date, they were overweight women. I mean, sure, if I wanted to date overweight women, I could probably do okay, but I don't. It's not my thing. I no more want to date an overweight woman. It's not a judgmental thing, but I no more want to do that than a girl wants to date a man that's shorter than her. Ask any American woman, would you date or seriously consider or marry a man shorter than you? They won't. The scientific studies show that 90% of women won't, and they're not going to date a man shorter than them. I mean, they'll go on a friendly dinner date. I mean, you don't have to be attracted to somebody to go on a friendly little dinner date or something. But for serious dating, they're not going to do it. So if I'm shallow for not dating fat women, then American women are shallow for not dating short men. They're both physical traits, right? So it's the same concept. I mean, it's just, I'm not judging it. I'm not attracted to it. A lot of men aren't. And that's another problem. In America, another reason why dating, both public and online internet dating, is hard for men, because you have a situation where only 25% of American women are height weight proportionate. And so you have 100% of the men going after 25% of the women. Severe imbalance. It makes it huge competition for the height weight proportionate women. So it used to be in America, in order to be a hot girl, you had to have the looks, everything, the face looks, your whole thing, the whole package had to be there. But now in the United States, if you're just not fat, you're considered hot. That's the competition now. That's how bad it has gotten. And so these girls in America that are thin, they get all the attention. I mean, how can you compete with that as a guy? I mean, all the guys are going after the same small pool of girls. There's not many girls in America that are height weight proportionate. I mean, everybody's fat. So, but on the flip side, American women, because women are attracted to things other than looks, because men are very visual. Scientific studies show that in biological sexual attraction studies. So we like good-looking, thin women. But on the flip side, women are attracted to men for other reasons than looks. So what you have is that these thin women aren't just pairing up with the thin men. The thin women are pairing up with overweight American men. That's what I mean. So as a thin man, I have competition from fat men too. They're my competition too, yeah. Because American women will date buff, big, bulky, or fat men. You know, they just will. That's how they are. So it kind of, if you're a guy who likes thin women, it's going to be hard. The other thing I was going to say about internet dating, so those are the kind of the problems, I guess, that you have facing you, uphill battle on that. And then, but if you go abroad, if you go on international dating sites, the tables are turned. It's just the opposite. Now, you as the American man, you're getting 20, 30 messages a day, right? You know, so you get lots of attention, and the girls, the foreign girls, don't get many messages. The tables are totally turned. So now you have the upper hand in the dating scene. And and really, I think it's realistic because it's not that hard to travel. I mean, you can take a 2, 3, 4 hour plane ride down to most countries in South America, and maybe 5 or 6 hours for certain ones. But you can date realistically. It's like dating somebody in another state. Okay, if you're willing to date a girl in another state, you should be willing to date somebody in South America, in another country like South America. If you're on the East Coast, the plane ride to Europe or Eastern Europe, similar, just 5, 6 hours. Philippines is a bit farther, but it's worth it. Filipinos are great. They speak English, and they got great family values. But you should be. It's not that hard to date internationally, guys. And don't buy into. I mean, basically, what you do is that you can chat these girls, get to know them on the internet, and then go take a Thursday or Friday off, or mix it with the holidays, and have a 4, 5, 6 day trip. Or you can take even just 3 days. When you meet a girl from the internet that you're chatting abroad, all you need to do is see what the personal chemistry is like. You can video chat, and that's great, and get to know the girl that way really well. But you need to go see the girl too to see how the chemistry face-to-face is. So that can be very different than what the video internet chemistry was. That's what I've learned. So, and you only need a 3-day trip, so take a Friday off from work and go on a 3-day weekend trip and meet the girl. If it goes good on the personal meeting, then you can take a longer trip with her next time. And these girls are marriage-minded. You know, unlike American girls who never, ever talk about wanting to be married and have a family and those kind of nice things in their profiles. I've never seen it. They don't talk about it, at least in their dating profiles. Most foreign women talk about their dream to be married and marry a man and have kids and family. They want it badly enough that they outright talk about it. They're not afraid to say it, which is really cool. I mean, if you're looking to get married, I guess that's really cool, you know. They're marriage-minded. And according to United States Citizens and Immigration Services, the USCIS, the immigration branch of our government, the divorce rate between American men and foreign women is only 20%, which beats our 50% divorce rate here in the States. So you're much, much less likely to end up divorced with marrying a foreign girl than you are an American girl. That's a statistic from the U.S. government. So if anybody wants a link to that, I can provide that to you. So that's what makes it a legitimate option. And don't buy into the lies that foreign girls want you for your money or green card. I found that that's just not true after I actually went and dated and traveled abroad myself. I talked to not just the girls, I talked to a lot of people that would be non-biased opinions. Non-biased opinions, like other foreign men. I talked to Filipino men, I talked to Latino men in their countries and said, hey, what do you think the real reason? What do you think the real reason is these girls like American men? And the answers I found from those guys, from everybody, from the girls themselves and from Americans living abroad, it all matches up to what the United States government found when they did a study on it. And I can send that link too. The USCIS did a study on international marriages, and they interviewed the girls in the Philippines. This was just the Philippine part of it, where they asked the girls, why are you marrying an American man? What's your motivation? You just love him, or what happened, or is that other reason? And the girls said that because the American men treat their women better, and which is true. American men, compared to their men, we treat women very well. Their men cheat on their women all the time. They verbally abuse them. They physically abuse them because the laws don't protect them there, unlike here. Women here are protected from that. Guys go to jail. Over there, they don't. The guys probably just buy off the police or the judge, you know, and they just don't really care about it over there, to be honest with you. So they see guys, it's a good match for them because American guys, they think, treat them better. And that's the answer they gave to the U.S. government when they did a study on it. And They said that Americans look like movie stars. Of course, our white skin is appealing to them too, I guess. And if you're a black guy, you'll still do well too. Don't get me wrong. Or a Latin American guy, you'll do well going abroad. But if you're white, you'll have even much easier time. And we're tall. Girls like tall men. I mean, we're taller than Asians. We're taller than most Latins by a little more. You know, Eastern Europe and Russia were probably about equal in height. But all of these are reasons that have nothing to do with green card or money. And I did an experiment myself to see what the truth, to further dig at the truth. I created a fake profile, Latin American Cupid, and I made myself to be a Latin guy, just an average look. I put an average looking guy on there, not Mr. really good looking guy, you know, not Mr. GQ or anything. I put an average looking Latino guy with an average job, customer service, and he got almost as much attention, as many messages as I did on my real American profile on the Latin American Cupid. That proved to me that if a profile that was a Latin American guy who offers no green card, who offers no money, got all that attention and all the messages he received from his profile, that proved to me that it's not about green card or money. Okay? You can do it too. It's free to go on Latin Cupid and just create a profile. You just need money to send messages, but you don't need to join or pay membership to receive messages. So you can repeat my experiment yourself, and you'll see you'll get messages. Unlike in America, on American dating sites, you won't. You don't. Most guys I know don't get messaged in America. They don't get responses to their messages. So, that's the truth of it. So there's no reason to fear going abroad for international dating or marriage. And like I said, the divorce rate's really low when you do that to marry foreign women. Let me see. And the only other thing, I don't think I covered the other part of the dating scene to compare. I mentioned bars and clubs and Starbucks. You can look at, and I've already covered why that still doesn't work well in America compared to abroad. Now, you can look at church, like singles Bible studies, and my experience has been, I went to 3 different churches just to give it a go, fair shot, you know, and I found that 80% of the women in the 30s and 40s age group were overweight. Now I'm 47, and I think, you know, churches divide you up by age, and I think I snuck into a mid-30s group, but it was just one time. I didn't want to misrepresent myself or anything, but I did want to see what it was like there too. And but long story short, I've been to the 30s, the 40s singles Bible studies, and about 80% of the women are fat or overweight. Not my thing, you know. And I've talked to other men who say the same thing. Other guys say, "Yeah, Steve, no, it's not just you, Steve. I mean, there's no thin girls in my church either. No thin, attractive girls, you know, that decently attractive, you know, at least average, you know." And the only girl that was thin and attractive at all 3 churches I went to, there was only one girl in each Bible study class, just one. And I thought, wow, in each class there's one girl that is good looking. Guess what? Every time she was the girlfriend of the Bible study teacher. She wasn't really single. She was just there to support her Bible study teacher boyfriend. Well, I guess that's the way it is. You know, the Bible study teacher gets first pick, I guess, you know. So, you know, for whatever reason, that doesn't work either. So, and I think the girls that are attractive don't need to go to singles Bible study, do they? Do they really? I mean, if a girl's really thin and good looking, wouldn't she already have a boyfriend? I mean, they're not going to last very long on the market in the United States. Because, again, you have 100% of the men chasing after that small percentage of women, which is not many, that are thin. And then of the 25% who are thin, height, weight, proportionate, even less are height, weight, and average looks or better. Because some of those girls are going to be ugly in that 25% of thin women. So you're really looking at 100% of the men chasing after about 15% of the women. Okay, or 17%, because not a full 25% of those thin women are all going to be good looking in the face too. You know, so it's really worse than you imagine. The obesity epidemic, unless you're a guy that doesn't mind dating fat women, and I got nothing against it. Like I said, it's just not my cup of tea. Okay, you gotta. I mean, if you don't mind dating overweight women, you don't have any reason to go abroad other than, well, unless you're looking at certain family values, because foreign women do have better family values. Foreign people in general have better family values than Americans in general. So, foreign women, you know, the divorce rate is lower at 20%, and you're more likely to. So there are reasons to date foreign women, I guess. You know, even if you do accept relationships with overweight women, you're okay with that. But so there's other reasons still, but I think the obesity is the biggest reason. I mean, for me, a lot of guys I know, we're not attracted to the overweight thing, so got to go abroad if you really want a good chance at that. So that's why church doesn't work. Good-looking girls are already married. So I mean, I see them at church, and they're usually already taken. So, and then last thing I'll mention in the video is that throughout the years, over the last 10, 15 years, there's been 2 or 3 cases, at least 2 I know of, where guys have shot up women because, at least in their writings of why they shot these women, was because the women were narcissistic and stuck up to them, like they treated them badly. And I think, what's the guy? Elliot Rodger was the more recent one in California. And then you have George Soudini. And both George Soudini and Elliot Rodger complained about the way women treated them. And so, like I said, I understand that because I've experienced the same stuck-upness and narcissism with women here in the States. Not at church, or maybe not necessarily so much at business functions, but going to single scenes. Okay, I have, like bars and clubs especially, and women can be very rude. And all I can say to you women out there is that you just have to watch how you treat people, because there are people that'll break. When there's only so much you can mistreat a guy, and then before he just goes berserk. Like I said, I understand what led them to it, because I've had those feelings too. Just the way I've been treated. I'm not even fat or ugly. I mean, I'm a decent-looking guy, and I've been given the crap from women too at singles bars and stuff. They're just not. A lot of American women are not very nice. I mean, they're downright mean, and they do things that really upset guys. And some of those guys just lose it and go shoot up a bunch of women. I don't understand why they shot him, but I understand what led them to lose it. I mean, that part of it, being mistreated, But yeah, they both complained about that, and actually, it's true because Jean Twenge backs that up. Jean Twenge, social psychologist Jean Twenge, and she teaches the Army, the police departments. She's from San Diego State University. Her studies show that most of the narcissism, most of the rise in narcissism in the United States the last 20 years, has been a huge rise in narcissism, was among American women, not the men. And you could just Google narcissism Jean Twenge, or American women narcissistic Jean Twenge. Her study will pop up, and you'll see that. She states that 3 times in her book. The emphasis on most of it being with American women over and over again. So, and so what Jean Twenge and even Dr. Laura touches on a little bit, mainly the entitlement attitudes in America with American women. Not being very appreciating or grateful, and just not being humble. You do have small country women, or small town country women. I mean, small town / country women, or Christian girls that are different. They're like foreign girls are, very humble and appreciative, and just nice no matter what. And even if a guy approaches them to talk to them, or are still nice to them, So, but I'm just talking about general patterns with city women mainly. Okay, and Jean Twenge, like I said, she backs up what George Soudini and Elliot Rodger complained about, especially on the West Coast where Elliot Rodger was. Now, both of them had money. They could, if they knew what I'm telling you, if they knew what happierabroad.com is telling you, if they knew what www.returnofkings.com is telling you, or if they knew what Roosh V, I could go on and on. I'm not going to sit here 10 minutes naming the hundreds of websites. If they knew some of these websites was telling them that, hey, there are nice women out there, you just have to leave the border of the U.S. They had money. They could have traveled. They could have found this out. They could have gone repeat visits to the girl and married somebody easily, especially the sweet girls in the Philippines and or South America. I mean, they could have had it made. They had tons of money. Elliot Rodger's dad was a Hollywood producer and worth millions. Elliot Rodger he did go to a foreign country, but it wasn't Latin America or an Asian country. It was more, I forget what country it was, but it wasn't really a country conducive like to what I'm talking about. We're a lot of sweet women that are humble and sweet and nice and stuff, and easy to get dates with, from what I recall when I looked at it. So, if anything, I hope these websites and my videos or anybody else's videos, there's a lot of men I mean, I'm one of thousands of men making videos about this topic, to leave America to find a good woman. You know, not in all cases. There are some good American women, but there's so few. I mean, the good American women are so few and far between. The ones that are humble, that are attractive, thin, not overweight, and humble, that combination is so few and far in between. Just overall, men are going to have to go abroad if they're going to want to be able to find that combo, you know, for the most part. So I wish they knew what I'm, you know, I wish they knew these sites and the stuff I'm talking about, so they wouldn't have had to shoot anybody up, you know. They would have just gone overseas and been happy. So, okay, so that's about it. That's just all I wanted to cover. Thanks for listening. I hope some of this material, you know, if it can help even just one person understand what I'm telling them and go abroad for love or marriage, that'll be a great success. So that's what I'm hoping to do with my videos, is to help guys that are having troubles here, and to explain the reasons why you're having trouble in the States. It's not your fault. They're scientific backed, like gene twins, social psychologists talk to. There's real reasons why there's been a degradation of the quality of women as far as their spirit, you know, their soul. You know, this is falling apart just with narcissism and meanness, you know, that we find with most American city women today. So, okay, so that's it. Thanks for listening.